Hello, everybody. So give me just a minute. I apologize. I am a whole ass hot mess today. This week has just been insane. So bear with me, guys. I'm trying to make life less insane. I am going to share the live across my social media. Also, we have a severe thunderstorm warning where I'm at. So, just so you're aware, if I lose internet or if I lose anything, I will try to hop back on. No guarantees, though. The last couple of storms, our electricity was kind of iffy. So, I'm going to try to knock this out before the storms. Come join me for our weekly business masterclass. This week is the organic growth engine. Owning the block without, oops, influence. All right, let me oh, that would help if I was on the right profile for it. Hold on. Facebook is still being stupid, so we'll see what happens. Let me make sure that the stream is all right where it's at. All right. How is everybody? So welcome to week 4, where we talk about the organic growth engine. We're going to be talking about owning the block without paying for ads. So how is everybody doing? Are you guys having a good Sunday? I apologize. The dog's getting into stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put today's resources in the comments. So the first resource that we're going to end up talking about is, sorry, just trying to get to chat. I have to find a good setup that I like for my decks. Now I'm messing up, of course. I apologize, guys. I'm a whole mess today because I want to just leave stuff alone. I'm trying to find a good way to have my computer where you guys can see me well, but also so that I have room to do what I need to do on my computer with everything that I have. All right, so our first link is going to be talking about QR code generation, Um, our next one is going to be for next door. So these are the two things that we're going to cover within today's talk. Coffee. I apologize. I'm not on the coffee thing because I'm bored or I'm tired. I do this because I need to relax and focus. Loki! Sorry, my dog was just getting into something and now he's being suspiciously quiet. Place. Place? That's not place, but I'll take it. Oh, I needed that coffee. I apologize. Um, this gives people a minute to get in here anyway. All right, who's ready to officially get started? Who's ready to officially start talking about week 4? The first thing that we're going to be talking about is that proximity is power. So here's a question that might change your entire marketing strategy. When was the last time you drove past 5 closer businesses to hire the best one on the other side of town? I'm going to give you guys just a second. You didn't. Nobody does. And that's exactly why proximity is going to be your secret weapon or your biggest blind spot. Lay down, Loki. So, welcome to the most. I apologize. I am currently getting a phone call. Hello? Okay, guys, I apologize. That was an important phone call that I absolutely had to take. Um, so I really do apologize. I know that stuff like that can make it difficult. Um, but as I said, that was absolutely important. I could not ignore that phone call. So thank you for your patience, everybody. So let's get started. Um, we're going to be, or already gone over that. Welcome to the most underestimated advantage in local business. Being right there. Not the biggest, not the fanciest, not even the best reviewed. Just there. Close. Convenient. 5 minutes away instead of 15. Here's the truth. The scale at all cost gurus won't tell you. Owning a 5-mile radius is significantly more profitable than being famous across the entire city. And for service-based businesses in economically disadvantaged areas, this proximity isn't just power. It's your only unfakeable competitive advantage. Now, let me show you why the big guys are actually terrified of the local operator who understands this principle. So here's the stat that's going to change everything. Let's start with a number that should reshape your entire business strategy. 46% of all Google searches have local intent. That's not people casually browsing. That's people typing roofer near me, emergency plumber, landscaper in Kennedy Township right now. High intent, credit card ready, looking for someone who can show up today. And here's the part that matters. They're not looking for the best in the world. They're looking for the best in the next 5 minutes. Because when your toilet's flooding at 9 p.m., you're not comparing Yelp reviews across 3 counties. You're calling whoever shows up first on Google Maps within spitting distance. I apologize. I need a drink. Ah, I needed that coffee. All right. So we're going to talk about the near me explosion. In case you think that this is a fluke, listen to this. Over 1.5 billion near me searches happen every single month. That's a billion with a B. And near me searches have exploded by over 500% in the last few years. And that trend is accelerating through 2026. So when I see local businesses trying to go viral on TikTok or run ads targeting the entire metro area, I want to grab them by the shoulders and yell, there are 1.5 billion people per month literally typing the words near me, and you're worried about reach. Respectfully, you're fighting the wrong battles. I'm opening up my aromatherapy. The live has been chaotic so far, and I needed calming sensory tactics today to get through life. So, next we're going to talk about the conversion velocity reality. So here's what we also call the map moat. Okay. Here's where proximity becomes insane. 76% of people who perform a near me search visit a related business within 24 hours. So let me say that again for you. 76% of all people searching right now will visit a business today, not next week, not when they have time, but today. And if they're searching on their phone, 88% of smartphone users who do a local search visit or call a store within a week. These aren't just window shoppers. These are people standing in their driveway, ready to looking at their broken fences, trying to decide who to hire. And proximity is doing half of the decision making for them. So we're going to talk about the 5-mile famous strategy. This is where the concept of 5-mile famous comes in. Forget trying to dominate your entire city. Forget trying to be a household name across 3 zip codes. Focus on becoming unavoidable within a 5-mile radius of your business location or your primary service area. Now, why does this matter? Well, because geographic concentration beats broad reach every single time. 5 exposures in one neighborhood drive more sales than 1 exposure across 5 neighborhoods. When the same person sees your truck 3 times, your yard sign twice, your Google business profile every time they search, and your next door post in their feed, you become the default choice. So here's where we're going to take just a moment to have a little bit of engagement and some reflection. So what I want you to do is think about your own behavior. Who's your go-to coffee shop, your regular gas station, maybe your favorite grocery store, or your default lunch spot? I'll bet they're all within 5 miles of where you spend the most of your time. That's not an accident. That's proximity bias. And every single one of your customers has it too. So we're going to talk about why hyperlocal beats scale. So here's what most struggling businesses get wrong. They think more reach equals more revenue. So they're running Facebook ads to everyone in a 30-mile radius, trying to be everything to everyone, spreading their marketing budget so thin it's basically invisible. Meanwhile, their competitor down the street is spending half as much to absolutely dominate a 3-mile radius. Same truck, same yard signs, same Google ads, but geo-targeted to one specific neighborhood. Guess who's booked out for 3 weeks? Not you, the person trying to be famous everywhere. Here's the reality. The riches are in the niches. The riches are in the niches. And the profit is in the radius. You don't need 10,000 people to know you. You need 500 people paid to trust you and to remember who you are the next time they need what you do. 5-mile famous gets you there. Citywide mediocrity won't. All right, now here's where we're going to start deep diving the map mode. I know that we touched upon it a little bit, talking about hyper-targeting into a 5-mile radius. But let's talk about the thing that keeps national franchises awake at night. National franchises have billions of dollars. They have brand recognition. They have massive marketing budgets. They have national TV ads and stadium sponsorships and celebrity endorsements. Think about Iron City Beer when there's a Steelers game, or Icy Light when there's a Pirates game. Think about Coors Light, Budweiser. Uh, you know, they are always having stadium sponsorships. Think about Nathan's Hot Dogs. They have so many major league sponsorships in MLB and things like that. Uh, but you want to know something that they can't fake? That's being physically closer to your customer than you are. Google's algorithms. Sorry, my glasses are giving me a bit of a headache. They're new, so I'm still getting used to them. Ooh, I didn't realize how badly I can't see without them on. Oh well. All right. I apologize if I stumble through this. I can't take my glasses for a few minutes. I gotta give my head a break. All right. Google's algorithm, especially after the massive vicinity update in December 2021, prioritizes physical distance as a ranking factor for local searches. And that update was the largest change to local search in 5 years. Google essentially said, you know what? The business around the corner should win over the business 10 miles away, even if the distant one has better reviews. That was weird. Facebook just sat here and was like, no, you don't get to review your own live. Sorry about that. All right. So here's what's happening behind the scenes. When someone searches for plumber near me or landscaper in Robinson Township, Google's algorithm calculates proximity as a primary ranking signal. Before 2021, a well-optimized listing further away could outrank a closer competitor. After the vicinity update, distance became substantially more influential. What this means in plain English is if you're the closest business, you have a natural defensive wall. A national franchise 5 miles away, even with a perfect 5-star rating, 500 reviews, and a massive ad budget, has to work exponentially harder to outrank you in your neighborhood. So, what I want you to do is pull out your phone. Search for your business's category plus near me right now. So landscaper, contractor, hair salon, boutique, that type of stuff. Look at the local pack. Those top 3 map results, notice how they're almost always the closest businesses. That's not just luck. That's Google's algorithm giving you a proximity advantage that you didn't even know you had. And if you're a service area business, a roofer, a plumber, a landscaper, someone without a physical storefront, this gets even better because you can define your service area, create location specific content, and essentially build mini map moats around multiple neighborhoods. Smart operators create separate landing pages for each neighborhood that they serve. They get reviews that mention specific areas. Great roofing service in Brighton Heights. They optimize their Google business profile with posts about local projects and Google rewards. Google rewards this because it shows that you've genuinely embedded yourself within that community. Not some random business trying to serve everyone within a 50-mile radius. So, while the big national franchises, they're stuck. They have one location serving a massive radius. They can't hyper-target 5 different neighborhoods because their entire brand is built on scale, not proximity. That's your advantage. You can go deep where they can only go wide. Now, here's where this gets really powerful. When you combine proximity with review velocity, the rate at which you get new reviews every single month, you then basically become unbeatable in your radius. Review velocity is the single most important review metric Google prioritizes in 2026. Not your total review count, not even your star rating. How many new reviews you are getting each month. So here's the breakdown from a 2026 study analyzing local rankings. Review velocity for accounts. Review velocity accounts for 40 to 45% of the review ranking factor. All right. As much as these are driving me nuts, I kind of need them back. I apologize. The next couple lectures are probably going to be horrendous because I can't see without my glasses and they're brand new, so they're bothering me. All right, a business getting 3 to 5 new reviews per month ranks significantly higher than a business with 100 old reviews but 0 new ones. Google interprets consistent review velocity as a signal of ongoing customer satisfaction and active business engagement. This is why I needed it, because I couldn't even see my notes to see where I was at. Okay. So, when you're the closest business and you're getting 3 to 5 new reviews per month, you're building a map moat that national franchises literally cannot cross. They might have 500 reviews total, but they got all of them 2 years ago, and you're getting steady, fresh reviews right now. You're telling Google, I'm active, I'm trusted, and I'm serving this neighborhood today, not in 2023. Let me show you what this looks like in practice with real data. So one local business tracked over 12 months. Month 1, they had 20 total reviews, getting 2 new reviews per month, ranking at a position of number 7. On month 3, they had 26 reviews, still 2 a month velocity, but moved to ranking position 5. At month 6, they only had 32 reviews, had 2 steady reviews per month velocity, but now was ranked number 2 or 3. By month 9, they had 38 reviews, 2 per month for velocity, and they were in the 1 to 2 ranking. By month 12, they only had 44 reviews. They were still at 2 a month for velocity, and they were number 1 ranking for 60% of the time. That's pure velocity improvement, no changes to their service area, and no changes to their rating. Just consistent, steady new reviews, and they went from position 7 to 1 in 12 months. That's the power of review velocity. Here's why this matters, especially for businesses in economically disadvantaged areas. You don't need 1,000 reviews. You don't need 5-star ratings. You don't need 2 to 4 reviews per month consistently. Or you need 2 to 4 reviews per month consistently from real local customers. That's it. That builds velocity. Velocity builds ranking. Ranking builds by visibility. Visibility builds trust, and trust builds revenue. All right. So here's our next slide. We're going to be talking about the 5 around method. Today's going to go over a little longer because our start was a little on the rough side. All right. So here's a question that nobody is asking, but everyone should. What's the single highest converting marketing channel for local service businesses? Is it Facebook ads? Google ads? No, it's the 5 hours next to the job, or the 5 houses next to the job that you just finished. Around 90% of you are leaving that money on the table because you think marketing happens later. Spoiler alert, your best marketing happens during the job. So let's talk about the 5 around method. The proximity marketing strategy that turns every single job site into a customer acquisition machine. This isn't theory. This isn't maybe try this someday. This is a tactical, repeatable system that transforms completed work into immediate new work. Here's what most struggling businesses miss. Every job that you complete gives you a 5-house radius of pre-qualified high trust leads. And you're walking away from them because you think marketing means posting on Instagram or running ads. Meanwhile, you just worked in front of the 5 easiest customers that you will ever close. Yet you said absolutely nothing. Let me show you why targeting the neighbors around your current client is the lowest cost, highest conversion marketing move that you can make, and how to do it without being creepy. So first, we're going to talk about proximity marketing, or more accurately, the psychology of proximity marketing. All right, so let's start with a truth about human behavior. People trust what they can see, not what you tell them, what they can witness. When your truck is parked in front of Miss Johnson's driveway for 3 days, her neighbors aren't ignoring you. They're watching you. They're judging you. They're deciding if they can trust you before you ever even have the opportunity to knock on their door. This is what is called proximity pre-qualification. By the time you approach the neighbor 5 houses down, you're not a stranger. You're the contractor who's been working on Miss Johnson's roof all week. That's a completely different conversation than cold calling someone across town who's never even heard of you. So here's the stat that should change your entire approach to lead generation. 83% of customers trust recommendations from people that they know, not reviews, not ads, not your 5-star Google ratings. People that they actually truly know. So when you knock on the door of a neighbor and say, hey, I'm working on Miss Johnson's house just down the street, you're no longer a stranger. You're vouched for, even if Miss Johnson hasn't said a single word yet, because proximity equals implied endorsement in the neighbor's brain. Meanwhile, every other contractor in your market is spending $50 to $200 per lead on Google Ads or Facebook campaigns, just trying to convince complete strangers to trust them. And you You've got 5 houses within 200 feet who can literally see your work in progress and watch you show up on time every single morning. That's trust that you can't buy. So let's talk about the numbers, because this is where the 5 around method gets absolutely crazy. Door hanger marketing has an average return rate of 1 to 3% for cold campaigns, meaning if you blanket 1,000 random houses, you're going to be able to get 10 to 30 callbacks. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Here's what happens though when you target proximity leads, neighbors who can see you working on their neighbors. So that response rate jumps up to 5 to 20%. Some contractors report callback rates as high as 20% when they target the immediate radius around a currently active job site. That's not 20% better. That's 6 to 10%, 6 to 10 times better than a random cold door hanger. So think about it from the neighbor's perspective. You've been watching a roofing crew work 3 houses down for 2 days. The house looks great. They're professional. They clean up. Then you get a door hanger that says, we're working in your neighborhood this week. Save 10% if you book by Friday. Are you throwing that away? Or are you texting your spouse a photo saying, should we finally do the roof? So here's what makes this strategy so powerful. You're catching people at the exact moment that they're thinking about the exact same service. When Mrs. Johnson's getting her landscaping done, her neighbors are looking at their overgrown yard thinking, yeah, we need to do that too. So when you're replacing windows or a roof, the neighbor 2 doors down is noticing their drafty windows or their leaky roof for the first time in months. This is called triggered intent, and it's marketing gold. You're not interpreting someone who wasn't thinking about your services. You're appearing right when they're already considering it. That's the difference between a 1% conversion rate and a 15% conversion rate. All right. So we are now going to talk about the return on investment that businesses often see. I'm just checking the time. Actually, we're going to skip the return on investment and we're going to jump to the social proof. If you want the stats on, if you want the stats on the return on investment, please let me know. I will be more than happy to go over them. I really need to pay for the full year of Wave. Because paying for the full year of Wave will get me as long as I need. But right now I have an hour because I'm on the free plan. So we are going to talk about social proofing. And this is the second part of the 5 around method, where we're going to be referencing social proof with permission. So in psychology, there's a concept called the halo effect. When a positive trait that something creates an overall positive impression that spills over into other perceptions. In marketing, this means if Mrs. Johnson trusts you, then her neighbors automatically assume that you're trustworthy too. Oh, I got the hiccups. I'm sorry. Even if they've never met you, they trust you. This isn't manipulation. This is human nature. We assume that if someone we know made a good decision, we can probably make the same decision safely. Sorry, geez Louise, it's been a crazy day. You can tell this is live. It's a mental shortcut in our thinking. It's incredibly powerful for local businesses. So here's how this works in practice. After you complete a job, you ask your client, "Hey, Mrs. Johnson, I'd love to introduce myself to a few of your neighbors while I'm in the area this week. Would it be okay if I mentioned that I just finished your project?" 99% of satisfied customers will say yes. Why? Because you just made their house look amazing and they're proud of it. They want their neighbors to know that they made a smart choice. You're not asking them to do work. You're giving them a chance to show off. So now, instead of a generic door hanger that says quality roofing services, call today, yours says, "Hi, we're currently working on Miss Johnson's home at 123 Main Street, just down the block. We're offering a 10% neighborhood discount to homes within a 5-mile radius this week only. If you've been thinking about getting your roof done, this is the perfect time. Call or text, put your business number, or scan the QR code to schedule a free estimate today." Notice what just happened. You went from "Who are you?" to "Oh, you're that person that's been helping Miss Johnson." That's the halo effect in action. The entire conversation has just shifted from stranger to trusted by proximity just by one sentence. Here's the stat that makes this strategy absolutely unstoppable. 92% of customers trust recommendations from people that they know. When you reference a neighbor's name with permission, you're effectively transferring Miss Johnson's trust to yourself. Think about how you make decisions. If your neighbor 3 doors down says, "We just had our driveway sealed by this company and they were fantastic," are you researching 5 other companies, or are you calling that company directly right then and there? That's social proof. That's the halo effect. And you're building it into your door hanger before you even have that conversation. All right, so I wanted to leave time for the Q&A. So again, if you want the last couple paragraphs where I dive a little bit deeper, please feel free to let me know. I will try next time to keep my shit together. All right. So we're going to talk about the organic growth and local SEO. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I always stop. I currently have the chat up. I'm looking at it. So this week was about map perception. And the idea that if you aren't in the top 3 map results, then you're essentially operating in a witness protection program. So we've spent the last few weeks making sure that you don't look like a scammer. Now we have a different problem. Nobody can find you anyway. You could have the most beautiful brand in the world, but if Google thinks you're a ghost, your bank account will be too. Since you're all staring at me and like I just asked you to explain quantum physics, let's talk about why your neighbors are hiring the guys from 3 towns over instead of you. All right. So our first question, since we don't have any questions at the moment, is when you search for yourself and end up on page 3, do you feel like a local hero or a local secret that nobody wants to find? And please feel free to answer any of the questions in the chat afterwards, because I'd love to see everybody's answers to these. And also put your questions that develop during the live in here as well. I will always go back and answer any comments that get left from my videos, any questions that you have. I don't gatekeep information. I don't like gatekeeping information. It feels slimy and sleazy and just gross. Okay, so they say the best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of Google search results. Because if you're on page 3, then you aren't even in the cemetery, you're in outer space. Being a local secret is just a fancy way of saying that you're out of business. Search engines prioritize relevance and proximity. If you aren't showing up, it's because you've signaled to the algorithm that you actually exist, that you don't actually exist in this zip code. So I want everyone to search for your service and your neighborhood. If you have to scroll more than twice to find your name, shout out how many strangers are listed above you. I'll even put mine in the comments. So if a neighbor asks for a recommendation on Facebook, how many of your customers would actually put their reputation on the line for your brand? Okay. Branding is vouching. When someone recommends you on a community page, they're putting their social standing on the line. If you do a bad job, they look like an idiot for suggesting you. If people aren't recommending you, it's rarely because your work is bad. It's because your brand identity doesn't feel stable enough for them to risk their reputation on. They need to know that you're a safe bet. So what I want you to do is think about the last time that you recommended a business. Did you do it because they were the cheapest or because you knew that they wouldn't make you look bad for suggesting them? All right. So why do we spend hours branding ourselves on TikTok to strangers in Ohio, but won't spend 2 minutes asking a neighbor for a Google review? I see it every day. A local roofer who's trying to go viral on TikTok. Why? Do you think Miss Higgins in the third ward is going to hire you because you did a dance move? 10,000 views from strangers in Ohio won't pay your electric bill. 10 5-star reviews from 5 people within a 5-mile radius will, though. We're chasing vanity metrics. Instead of local velocity, reviews are the fuel for the Google Maps algorithm. So here's a question. Who here has more than 50 followers on social media, but fewer than 10 Google reviews? Be honest. Which one do you think Mrs. Higgins checks before she calls you? So what's the weirdest place that you've ever seen one of your yard signs? And did it signal professional, pro, or illegal littering? Yard signs are the original local SEO. But there is a fine line between local authority and visual pollution. If your sign is crooked, faded, or stuck in a ditch next to a discarded tire, you aren't branding, you're littering. You're littering. A professional sign is a trust signal. It says, I am currently working here, and the person living here trusts me. What's the most creative place that you've ever that you've ever stuck a sign? Did it actually stay there, or did the city send you an angry letter? Want to hear those guerrilla marketing stories? All right, so if you could own the map position for one specific street, which one would it be? And why are you letting the guy from 3 towns away rank higher than you on that street? I'm just checking to see if any comments are popping up, because I have my PowerPoint and my Wave on another screen. Um, and I have my Facebook up so I can hear if there's any technical issues. All right. So proximity is the only thing the big guys can't fake. If you live in this neighborhood, you have a geographic advantage. But if you don't optimize your Google profile, some guy with a massive budget with 30 miles away is going to steal your neighborhood business. You should be the undisputed king or queen of your street. That starts with geotagging your photos and mentioning local landmarks in your updates. Name the one street in your town where you would want to have your truck seen every single day. Why that street? Well, density, pride. I want to hear those targets. Who is the king or the queen of the block in your industry right now? And is their brand actually better than yours or just louder? So we all have that one competitor. I'm sure you know the one. Their work is average, their prices are high, but their name is everywhere. They aren't better than you, they're just more consistent with their signals. Being the best is a secret. Being the brand is a business. We're here to make sure that you stop being a secret and start being the loud guy that everybody's worried about. Don't name names, but describe the loud guy in your industry. What is the one thing that they do to get attention that you've been too proud to try? All right. So I've insulted your guys' search engine rankings enough and your yard signs for one night. Go home, search for yourself. And if you don't like what you see on page 1, start asking for those reviews. Next week, we're going to be talking to the retailers about the third place advantage and how to stop Amazon from eating your lunch. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Class dismissed.